In George Orwell's book Animal Farm, we are given a warning about how a free society can be taken over by a few clever individuals. One such technique is by changing the wording of a law slightly so that it means something completely different from its original purpose. For instance, in the book, there are several laws that are meant to prevent animals from behaving like humans. One such law prevented any animal from sleeping in a bed. Quote, "No animal shall sleep in a bed." However, this law was changed by the pigs, who added the words "with sheets" to the end of the sentence, which allowed the pigs to sleep in the human's bed as long as it didn't have any sheets. If we look at the legislation on the books, you will find that there are many so-called laws being passed that are actually just modifications of existing law. In fact, I think the majority of the laws that are passed are modifications to wording of existing law. One glaring example of this is the term probable cause. The new definition is such a bastardization of the original term that most people no longer even see the word cause as meaning what it obviously means in the English language. In fact, we no longer even associate a cause of this kind with the English language counterpart of an effect. Let's look at the Fourth Amendment and try to figure out what it means. Quote, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants issued, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized." First off, let's take a look at the first part of this statement, which states that, quote, "The rights of the people shall not be violated, and no warrants issued." One common misconception about our rights is the idea that we get our rights from the government. We do not. These are rights that we have that the government can potentially take away from us. Our Constitution is the law that prevents governments from doing this. If they violate these laws, then they are breaking the social contract and do not have any legitimate authority over the people. The specific rights in the Fourth Amendment is the right to be secure in our, quote, persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. This is pretty clear, except for the word unreasonable, which is subjective and can mean anything depending on what the individual considers, quote, unreasonable. Luckily for us, the amendment continues, and what is considered, quote, unreasonable is clearly outlined. Quote, "But upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized." Here is that term probable cause and some details about what it really means. This probable cause must, 1, be supported by oath or affirmation, and 2, describe, quote, "the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized." But what exactly is a probable, quote, cause? The word cause is obvious. Quote, "something that provides a generative force that is the origin of something." But what, quote, something are we talking about? If we have a cause, then isn't there supposed to be an effect? Yes. The effect is a specific crime. In other words, if somebody is found dead on the street with a bullet in his chest, we know a specific crime has been committed. Murder. We have an effect. Now, the police can start looking for the cause of this effect. When we start looking deeper, we find that the man was killed with a .38 caliber gun manufactured by Company X. We find that the man who was killed was in an argument that morning with John Smith. We have a witness that claims he saw John Smith near the scene of the crime. We have records that a John Smith bought a .38 caliber revolver from that same Company X. We have a crime, and we have the, quote, probable cause of that crime, John Smith. Now, we go to a judge and we ask the judge to issue a warrant to search John Smith's apartment for the gun. This is obviously what is meant by the Fourth Amendment, if anybody ever decided to read it. However, the very term we use, probable cause, has since become almost meaningless. For instance, the Oxford Companion to American Law defines probable cause as, quote, information sufficient to warrant a prudent person's belief that the wanted individual had committed, quote, a crime, or that evidence of a crime or contraband would be found in a search. In other words, the term probable cause now means whatever a prudent person, whatever that means, believes is probable cause, even if no crime has actually been witnessed. You can now have probable cause without any specific crime. You can have a cause without an effect. How did this happen? I believe it started with the war on drugs. The war on drugs has done more to bastardize the meaning of this phrase than anything else. In order to subvert the Constitution, the government needed to change the, quote, crime that was committed, the effect, to be something that is not specific to one act, but a general state of the society. Drugs are everywhere, so crime was everywhere, and everyone is a suspect. When an officer now claims to have, quote, probable cause, he's not talking about a specific effect, a specific violation of the drug laws, a specific drug deal. In fact, most of the time, there is no evidence that such a drug deal has even taken place. It is not probable cause of an actual crime. It is a possible crime, and a suspicion that such a crime might have taken place. In this sense, everyone is suspect of violating the drug laws. Just like the pigs in George Orwell's books, our legal system has bastardized our language to make the Fourth Amendment mean nothing close to what the original intent of it obviously was. If we can have a specific cause without a specific effect, we are simply distorting the language for the specific purpose of taking away your Fourth Amendment rights without the need for a constitutional convention. In other words, the pigs are sleeping in the bed.
What activity are you suspecting me of?
Sir, I have no idea.
So you have no idea what you suspect me of, but you just somehow suspect me of illegal activity? That's not probable cause.